When people learn about the American Revolution, they often hear the familiar story. Colonists protested taxes, fought for freedom, and defeated the British Empire. But beneath this well-known narrative lies a complex web of hidden pressures, economic, social, and political, that pushed the colonies toward rebellion long before the first shot was fired at Lexington. Understanding these deeper forces reveals that the revolution wasn't sudden. It was the result of decades of quiet tension. One hidden element was Britain's financial desperation after the costly 7 Years' War. The empire was drowning in debt, and the colonies, which had benefited from the war, seemed like an obvious source of revenue. But the colonists had grown used to salutary neglect, a long period during which Britain barely enforced its trade laws. Suddenly, strict regulations and taxes felt like an attack on a lifestyle they believed they had earned. Another unseen factor was the rise of powerful merchant networks in cities like Boston, Philadelphia, and New York. These merchants had built thriving businesses by bending or bypassing British trade laws. Enforced taxes and tighter customs patrols threatened their profits, making resistance not just patriotic but financially essential. Behind many public protests stood merchants funding newspapers, mobs, and committees that shaped public opinion. There was also a profound shift in colonial identity. A new American-born generation had never seen Britain as home. Their loyalty was local, toward colonies, communities, and shared grievances. They exchanged revolutionary ideas through coffee houses, taverns, and pamphlets that spread faster than the British could suppress. These hidden pressures, economic interests, identity shifts, and Britain's financial panic created a combustible environment. By the time Parliament began passing new taxes, the revolution's roots were already planted, quietly growing under the surface. While battles and declarations shaped the public side of the revolution, the real engine of resistance operated behind closed doors. Secret networks, underground committees, and informal alliances worked tirelessly to coordinate protests, spread information, and undermine British control. These hidden organizers ensured that what appeared to be spontaneous colonial unity was actually the product of meticulous planning. One crucial force was the Committees of Correspondence, essentially the revolution's communication network. Long before social media or mass newspapers, these committees circulated letters detailing British actions and advising colonies on how to respond. They stitched together a shared political consciousness, turning separate colonies into a coordinated resistance movement. Equally influential was the Sons of Liberty, a clandestine group of activists, merchants, and craftsmen. While often portrayed as fiery patriots, they also acted as political strategists. They organized protests, spread propaganda, and orchestrated dramatic actions like the Boston Tea Party. Their power lay in their ability to shape public opinion through symbolism and street theater, turning local disputes into national crises. Colonial taverns and meeting houses served as safe spaces for revolutionary plotting. These were places where radicals debated, recruited, and strategized away from British eyes. Many accidental mob gatherings were, in fact, carefully timed events designed to pressure British officials or intimidate loyalists. Another hidden story is the role of ordinary workers, sailors, and apprentices. These groups often acted as the muscle behind protests. Although wealthier leaders crafted political arguments, it was the working class who filled the streets, faced down soldiers, and risked arrest or violence. Their participation turned small political disputes into massive social movements. By the early 1770s, these networks created a revolutionary infrastructure. Their secret planning ensured that when open conflict finally erupted, the colonies were not only angry, they were organized, unified, and ready. Once the war began, the revolution became a visible struggle, armies marching, declarations signed, and independence proclaimed. But beneath these dramatic moments were hidden forces that shaped the outcome and the new nation that emerged. One vital but often overlooked factor was foreign intervention, especially from France and Spain. Publicly, the revolution looked like a colonial uprising. Secretly, it was a global chess match. European rivals saw the conflict as a chance to weaken Britain. They provided weapons, money, naval support, and diplomatic pressure. Without this covert assistance, years before France openly joined, the Continental Army might never have survived its earliest defeats. Another quiet influence was the intelligence war. Both sides operated spy rings, but the American Culper Ring was particularly effective. Hidden in plain sight, farmers, merchants, and tavern owners used coded letters, invisible ink, and dead drops to send information to George Washington. Their espionage prevented British ambushes, exposed Loyalist plans, and helped secure key victories. On the home front, women played an essential but underappreciated role. They managed farms, businesses, and households in men's absence. Many acted as messengers, suppliers, or even spies. Their economic contributions kept communities functioning, while their political discussions sustained revolutionary morale. Finally, a hidden struggle unfolded within the army itself. The Continental Army suffered shortages, mutinies, disease, and harsh winters. Washington's leadership, steady, symbolic, and patient, quietly kept the army intact even when victory seemed impossible. The revolution was as much a psychological battle as a military one. By the war's end, the hidden forces, spies, foreign allies, grassroots organizers, and unspoken sacrifices were just as crucial as battlefield victories. These silent contributions shaped not only the revolution's success, but the ideals and contradictions of the nation it created.